again, this is you're just now tuning in. This is the Barbercade, man. Just letting y'all know we're here to tell true stories to the eyes of us. All of our triumphant odds that made us stronger, more resilient through the struggle that we have all bared. Now, we also like to tell the stories of how we may turn these losses the losses were painful, and then how this pain we use that became our advantages. And so, without further ado, somebody that can really, 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 really like speak on such triumphs and tribulations is my man Bennie Price. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Well, so this your first time here. I'm gonna just go ahead and get right into it, man. You're an ex-con, correct?
Ex-con.
Is that how you prefer to be said? Is there, I don't want to disrespect you because I don't know how to,
I'm cool with anything respectful.
Okay, all right. It's definitely all in respect. Trust me. So let's get to it. When was the first time you got in trouble?
Probably about 7, 8 years old.
Really? What was that? What happened?
Petty thieving. Stealing out of the store.
Okay. All right. So, what was the next thing? What's the next thing?
I think the next thing that you consider big was I assaulted one of my schoolmates, and I was in about the 4th grade.
Really?
Yeah.
So what does that look like? So what happened? Like what is that? What happened in the 4th grade that made you assault, or what was the circumstances?
Growing up in the projects, they had certain rules and regulations that a young boy had to follow. That came from the men of the hood, and it was a situation where if you can't beat them, then you got to find something to
beat them with.
Even it up.
Okay.
So I got into it with
a bigger guy, obviously.
A bigger girl.
Okay.
A bigger girl. And,
all right.
And I was a pretty small guy, for most of my life, and so it was a situation where I couldn't beat him. So I grabbed a Coke bottle and I hit her in the head with it.
Where did this take place at? This like at school? This at home? Where is this at?
This was during like the weekend of the school at Booker T. Washington on the east side.
Okay.
And like after school, we would come to the school and play basketball and stuff like that, swing on the swings or on the monkey bars and like that.
Yeah. All right. So you're getting in trouble at an early age. What is this stemming from? Is there a 2-parent home? Like, what is the circumstances at the crib?
The circumstances at the crib, I was raised by my grandmother, and that was inside of the house. But once you step outside of the house, then your environment, your neighborhood raises you. Like I say, it's certain rules that that you given as a young man. And back then, when I was going through it as a youngster, I was doing everything right, But now, being 40-something years old, you look back, I understand how my young mind was corrupted.
No doubt.
At an early age,
Okay. Yeah, I want to stay with that. So, at this early age, when you were when you're going through life, being raised by your grandmother, I can already understand she probably had you well and good inside the house, like you said.
Yes.
Once you stepped out into the jungle, it was another world. Did you seem to gravitate to the streets? Was it a natural thing, or like how did you come up? Was it a gang thing going on back in those days? Matter of fact, even better question: what neighborhood are you from in San Antonio?
I'm from the Wheatley Courts housing projects.
Courts. Is that now like been gentrified now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We'll get to that. What was the Wheatley Courts like back in the early 80s and 90s?
Oh, it was beautiful, man. It was love, man. It was so much fun, But to put it into perspective, my grandmother was a Christian, and she would give you these Christian principles. So being in her house, you would have to live by those principles. But by the time I got about 11 or 12 years old, you know, I had a conversation with my grandmother. And I said, Big Mama, like, you know, what world are you from? You know, she was like, what are you talking about, boy? And I was like, you know, you saying God and this Jesus Christ and these principles in the house. I'm saying, but when I step outside this house on the porch, you know, it's a whole nother world. It's like what you saying, the principles, the morals of what you saying don't even exist out there. So that's basically how, you know, I function one way at home. But when you leave the house,
so you have the code.
Yeah. Because now you're out there with the wolves.
So tell me about the wolves. What was that about? What was that like?
I call them the wolves now, but back then they were our big brothers, you know, they were our uncles, you know, our big cousins, you know, our big homeboys, you know, and they just gave us what they had, you know. If they gravitated towards selling drugs, you know, they gave you something to get you a hustle on the drugs. If they gravitated towards, you know, stealing cars, you know, then they're going to show you how to steal a car. You know, if they was pimping, then they're going to give you something how to pimp. So whatever they gravitated towards, that's basically what they was going to give you. But for some reason, I gravitated towards being violent.
And what do you think that stems from?
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. But I know that I was given these rules and these laws, you know, about how to conduct myself, and that's how I conducted myself.
And these are basically survival techniques. Do you think?
I mean, you could look at it like that, but it's not necessarily so, because everybody didn't gravitate towards being violent.
But it was right on your front porch, though.
All of it was. I just gravitated towards the violence part of it. It's some people that never really hurt nobody in the projects, you know?
Right.
But they gravitated towards something else.
Well, they're just really great hustlers, but you know, they not finna somebody else gonna do that part.
Yeah, I was the one that was gonna do that part.
Okay, all right. So, wow, this is interesting. This is good. Let me ask you something. Were you around during the time of Club Illusions?
Yes, I was.
Tell me back to those days.
I couldn't tell you too much about Illusions, but I could tell you a couple of things.
I did my homework, so that was just something somebody told me about. You know what I'm saying? He was like, "Ask that nigga about Illusions."
Okay. The first thing I can tell you about Illusions is that when I first started going to Illusions, remember I tell you I was small.
Yeah.
And there was no way I was getting into Illusions. Like, no way. I was like a kid. Like, it was no way. But my cousin used to take me, and we get dressed up. You know, he'll go in, and I'll sit in the car, maybe possibly go to sleep. You know, when they come out, and I get out the car, like I had been up in there. Okay. And so that's my first experience of going to Illusions. You know, I'd be standing outside like I was in the club, you know, and just hanging out like that. Yeah, but I would never go in. We just parking lot. Okay. We just parking lot pimping, you know. So I'm just hanging out because, like I said, I was too small to go in any club, like, you know. And then as I got older, Illusions was still around a few years later, and now I'm kind of old enough to go in. Mm-hmm. And it happened to where it was a situation where it was a concert that came, I kind of figured that when you go in those kind of environments, you know, you got to be ready, you know. And by me gravitating towards the violence, I gravitated towards being ready to commit violence, you know. And by this time, I didn't have no respect for life. Like, it didn't, like for your life, it didn't matter. Mine's did. That's all, you know, mine's and my people's life, all that mattered. So, so I got ready to go to, you know, if I had to commit violence, you know, I was ready, you know.
So when you say ready, you mean you have weaponry?
Yes, I have weapons. Yes.
Okay. So like,
in my mind, I'm not gonna think twice about it.
It's already done.
It's like, if you get out of line, you're gonna get your head busted. Like, that's it. And we all know that with that mind state, I think we do, something's gonna happen. And so it was a situation to where I had a couple of guys that go with me. They wasn't from my neighborhood.
Now, what you're about to speak on, sorry to cut you off, is essentially what led you to the bid.
Yes.
Okay. Because I was just about to ask you, there was this, and I always ask this, Dave can contest this, but I always ask some of the people that I have on my podcast with similar situations. I was like, with my homework that I've done on San Antonio, like that time of in San Antonio, like the 80s, 90s, that was like around the time where, that boy DJ Quik came out with a song that said, one of the hooks was, San Antonio is just like Compton, fool. And I want to say, is it safe to say that you might actually have something to do with that whole entire lyric?
I just know that one part of the song was written about what happened that night when he came to San Antonio Club Illusions, which the murder case that I did 23 years for. And also, I like to say that I want to apologize to all the lives that were affected by that young man, and I hope that you will forgive me for my senseless taking of life.
Okay, so let's dig into it. Like, what happened? If you don't mind.
Like I say, I went with two guys. They're not from my neighborhood, but you come up with these certain laws and saying if they with you, they with you.
Yeah, street laws.
And so it's kind of like we was going to a blood party, if you want to say.
Okay.
Because of the artists that were coming was, I guess they were known to be Bloods,
Okay.
I was not no Blood. I was not no Crip. I've never been a Blood, never been a Crip. I just represent, my neighborhood, And so when we get there, they get into one of the guys that came with me. And so...
do you know what the situation was? What the altercation was even about? How did it
from my understanding, it was some disrespect, because like I say, it was a blood party, and the guy that I came with was more associated with the Crip side. He wasn't a Crip, but he was more associated with the Crip side. So I think he had said something disrespectful, from my understanding. And so I only had like a couple of homeboys that was in there, and they came and they were like, well, what's up, what's going on? And when I found out that he was the guy that I came with,
oh shit,
I was like, he's not even from my neighborhood. He's from another neighborhood,
So did you kind of feel responsible?
Of course, that's the law I come up under. If they come with you, they with you. And so I was like, take care of it, And with my mind frame, like I said, I had already came ready. I was already prepared to, do this.
It's already on your mind. Law of attraction is strong.
Yeah, and it was, at this time of life, I was just telling my wife driving over here, it's crazy how you can be in a mind frame to not care about life. Like somebody can say, such just got killed, and you like,
niggas die every day, B.
But if it's like somebody that dies like in a car accident or something like that, or die of sickness, it's like it's heartfelt to me. But if it's somebody died in the streets, it's like that's how it go, And so it's like, okay, we'll take care of it, and I'm gonna do my part. And so I went to the car and got my gun, and I was heading back into the club, and I seen a couple of guys.
So hold up. First of all, you don't be in the club. You out? Is this the night that you in the club or outside the club?
This the night I'm in the club.
Okay.
I'm in the club, and like I say, I was in there. It was no problem. Nobody was giving me no problem or nothing. What I'm saying? Like I say, the situation was with this other guy, that I brung with me. I didn't go with him. He came with me.
So fuck the hands.
No. The hands got through.
Okay.
The hands got through. The hands got through. But like you say, by this time in San Antonio, it was head busting season. It got dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So you can fight if you want to, but it really don't end there.
Right.
And so
you might as well be the.
Yes. I'm that guy. So so I went and got my gun, coming back towards the club. Seen a couple of guys that was, I guess you could say from that side that that he had got into it with, and
now these guys from another section in San Antonio, Or is this the people that came from the concert from another city type?
No, they from San Antonio. They from another section from San Antonio. But you got to remember,
was it part of the East or
it was part of the East? But the guys that was coming to perform was known as Bloods. So they bigging up.
Yeah, anybody that's a blood.
They bigging it up. So and so when the guy big up the Bloods, it was reported that this guy said F that. And that's how I jumped off. That's from.
So were you affiliated on because you're not a Blood or a Crip, but was Willie Courts associated with Blue?
No, sir. No. We was WCG. We were what we want to wear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you obviously had issues with people that was of red.
No. I have no problem with them.
Okay.
I have no problem with no Crips or no Bloods. It's just I represented my projects, and basically, if we got into it with whoever, you was the enemy. It didn't care. We didn't care if you had red, if you was a Blood, or Crip, or you just you represented some other just regular neighborhood. We didn't care nothing about none of that.
Right.
We just represented our neighborhood, Wheatley Courts, Texas, and that was it. So so then when I see a couple of the guys that I know that was on the other side, I walked up to one of the guys and I shot him in his face.
This is after the fight?
This is after the fight.
So, all right, because this is heavy. So, I'm trying to paint the picture because they say radio is theater of the mind, and so to those who listen to this and may not watch it, they're just listening to it through like their iTunes or whatever the case may be. And I just want to paint this picture. And so the altercation takes off. Y'all fight. Y'all throw hands. But obviously, niggas still want static. Or that just was the beginning. You was there to finish the job. One way or another.
I consider myself the finisher.
Okay.
So you can start what you want to start. I'm not going to start anything like that. I'm not no troublemaker. You know what I mean? I'm basically I'm a peaceful guy. But if it's on, then it's on.
So pretty much 0 to 100, real quick.
No. That's rap.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's rap.
I tend to do that. Sounded
good. We invented that. I like to say we invented rap. You know what I'm saying? They rap about the lives that that we've lived. You know what I'm saying? We didn't live the lives of what rappers was doing.
They rapping about the lives y'all doing.
Yeah. So when you hear DJ Quik's song, he was we wasn't living that life. He was rapping about the life that we live. He was rapping about true facts.
That's heavy. So you shoot the guy. This is in the club.
It's outside the parking lot.
Imagine a lot of witnesses.
I imagine it is.
What was the final straw that got you? Like, what did you do from that moment? Did you flee? Was you on the run forever? Did you turn yourself what's the next? Or did you get arrested right then on the spot? Like, what transpired?
Maybe about a week later, I got stopped by the police, and
like a traffic stop.
It wasn't necessarily I guess you could say a traffic stop. Sometimes they see you because they the police in our neighborhoods, they know you. So if they see you, they're gonna pull. Especially me, they're gonna pull me over. Remember, I'm 15, 16 years old, so I had no driving license.
I forgot. So when this happens, how old are you?
I was 16.
Okay, keep going.
And so when they see me, they're gonna pull me over. They're gonna pull me over, look for the guns, and like, hey, what you doing driving? Man, I'm just chilling. They taking the car to the pound and taking me to juvenile. So on this day, they take the car to the pound, and then they take me to the homicide investigator's office.
So they already figured it's you, or they have an idea they think it's you?
I don't know. All they know is they want to interview me. So I go down to the interview, and they was like, well, what happened on such and such day? I'm like, I don't know nothing about that. The only thing that I had to say was, am I under arrest, or do I need a lawyer? If not, then I got things to do.
Okay. So did you end up having to get a lawyer?
So they let me go.
Okay, all right.
And then maybe I stayed on the run maybe about 2 months because they ended up coming out with a warrant. So I stayed on the run about 2 months. Maybe about 4 months. And so when I got caught on the run, they gave me a murder case. I did like 10 months in jail before I was able to make bond. Made bond, came home, back at it again. Same
wait
old thing.
Wait a second. Hold on. So you beat the body.
Huh?
You beat the body.
No, I didn't beat it. No.
Okay. It just not enough evidence at the time.
No, it's just I'm out on bond. I'm waiting to go to trial. I'm waiting to go to trial.
Okay. So you out on bond. What's your next move?
I'm back at it.
Back at it as far as like
I'm back in the streets.
So when you was in the streets, were you not just also the finish? Were you a hustler too? Were you hustling? You was
I did a little hustling.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I heard the price was pretty good back then. Anyway, so you back at it. The streets is talking. Like, what's the climate? Like, how you feeling? Like, are you looking over your shoulder 24/7? Like, what's the move?
No, I don't do that.
Are you stacking to lawyer up? Like,
no, I was a young fool. You know, I was a young fool. I'm not looking over my shoulder. You know, I'm not in no fear. You know what I'm saying? If I was in fear of something, you know, then I would take care of that fear. You know, and the way you take care of that fear is not looking over your shoulder.
You gonna deal with it?
Yeah, I try to deal with it the best way I can. But so I just come back. I try to sell me a little drugs, have me a little fun. I know I'm going to prison. But to back up before that, when I was 11, I was in the hood, and I went to the old school. My old school partner John, may he rest in peace. And I bought a 22 automatic, right? And Big John.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $20 for it.
Man.
And Big John said.
And this is in 19.
This is in 1980 something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just,
It was like 80
attention.
something. So Big John said, "Look, if you shoot this gun, don't throw it away. Bring it back." You know. So here I go. You know, I'm following the rules. Not even an hour later, I go back to Booker T, Washington, where we go play basketball at. You know, it was on the weekend, and we playing basketball. And I was very small, so I was real quick, you know, and I was pretty good at, you know, getting to the rim, you know, and so I had this altercation with the older guy that was up there, you know, kind of like embarrassing him. He was dunking on me and everything, you know, he was playing, but when I, you know, kind of get the best of him, you know, he didn't take it right, so he started kind of pushing me around, you know, and then one time.
And how old is he compared to you?
I was in the 7th grade, so he had to be like probably a junior or a senior.
Now I'm just trying to I'm just trying to wrap my mind around your mentality at this age. Is so, it's raw, bro. It's like it's kill or be killed. Like I'm just thinking about myself at that age. If a bigger or older guy was fucking with me, I'd probably just like fall back. You know what I'm saying? Like, but continue. You didn't like that shit.
No, so it went from bad to worse.
To 0 to 100?
No. It went from bad to worse to impossible. You know, and what I mean by that, you know, he was pushing me around, and you know, he elbowed me. You know, he was a bigger guy. Like I was a pretty small guy, and I ain't never had no small man complex, nothing like that. You know what I mean? I always felt like I was a giant. You know, but one time he dunked the ball, and when the ball came out the net, I went to, you know, reach for the ball, and I heard he had spit on me. Looked like so.
Hold on. So he dunks on you and spits on you.
Yeah.
What the fuck was going through his head?
I think the ultimate disrespect. You know what I mean? Because like I said, he was an older guy. You got a little young guy. You know, trying to embarrass you on the basketball court. You know, just not having it. But so I go get my little 22. You know, and I used to walk around with a golf club, right? Because before I had the 22, I had the golf club, you know.
Okay.
So I go get my 22, my golf club, right? And so when I'm coming towards him, disrespect, you know, because like it seemed like he's looking at the golf club and like laughing, like, "Little nigga, what you gonna do with that?" Right. You know, like, and not really seeing the 22 because the 22 is really small.
Yeah.
You know. 22. So.
You good?
Golf club, right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So when I see that he really wasn't filling the golf club, I'm like, wait, it's, you know, I have to.
Yeah.
And so I shot him, you know.
Where?
I shot him in the body.
Okay.
You know, I shot him like bam, you know, and He's like, no. I shot him again. Bam! I shot him in the body again.
How close are you to him?
Up close. I'm like me and you closer.
So you back up. So you walking up to him with the golf club. He like, man, what the fuck you gonna do with that shit? So you still coming like, well, fuck this golf club, and then automatic, pop,
boom.
Pop. Okay.
So I like boom. Then you like no. Okay, I'm sorry. And then I hit him again. Boom. Then the second time he failed.
So so you hit him. You just pulled the trigger, right? You just pulled a fucking trigger. You hit this man. He goes straight to Jesus with it. And you like, nah. You hit him again.
Boom.
What was that? What was happening in your pineal gland at that moment? Like,
to be honest with you, when
he got me fucked up.
No, when I got to that stage to shooting the gun, right? Everything that I had heard, been told, and witnessed concerning gun violence clicked in, which means that killing, right? And so after I hit him the second time, now he's on the ground. So I'm trying to get over him now to shoot him in his head. So when I get over him and shoot him in his head, one of my partners like, no, Papa, don't kill him, right? He come grab me. No, Papa, don't kill him. Please don't kill him. Please don't kill him. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, everybody looking, you know. And I was like, you know, I guess he talked some sense into me, you know, because like this is somebody I consider a friend, you know. And so I was like, he's like,
was
man,
he older?
He probably was a year older. You know, he probably was a year older.
This must have been a fam bam.
Yeah. So he was like, man, go back to
Because the man
project.
himself, after being shot, couldn't talk you out of it.
No.
Was your homeboy able to grab you?
Yeah.
And kind of just like slow the moment down for you to just kind of.
I think he shook me out of it. You know
right,
what I mean?
Because you was in a trance, obviously.
Yeah. I think he shook me out of it because I was like, man, because I didn't even like give him no fight back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I was like, okay, because like I say, I was given the laws and the rules of the land, so I'm thinking that this is one of them. Like, look, man, everybody looking. So I'm thinking like, okay, I shouldn't do it in front of everybody like that. Now that they, you know, now that I see that they looking, but I knew they was looking when it first happened. Right. But like I said, I think he really just shook me out of it. You know, that's the best example I can give. You know, and so I just ran back to the projects, and I remember what Big John said. You know, Big John said, "We shoot this gun." So I gave it to one of my partners. I'm like, man, make sure you take this gun to Big John. I don't care what happened. You make sure Big John get this gun. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, this is my life. I'm going to need another gun one day because I'm living this life. I'm on my way to prison. I'm knowing that. I know I'm going to prison, right? And so you want your name to be good.
So look, this is when you were 11.
Yes.
And you already know you're going to prison.
Yes. We all are. We all know. We all know we're going to prison. It's a badge of honor. It's a rite of passage. Yeah.
And that's something that we have been culturally conditioned to believe.
Like I was telling you, the young mind corrupted.
No, this is some real, man. Listen, if you're just now tuning into the Detailed Data podcast, I want to apologize if we have any kind of technical difficulties on the sound. Trust me, 4K Dave, we are producing this show, so we will be re-releasing it in crystal clear HD as y'all see it right now. I'm with Mr. Price right now, and he's breaking down some profound things, and we're just kind of tapping deep into the mind of a brother that's raised in a situation that, you know, breeds what he could be, what you could possibly become, and how he's able to still be alive today to recap and reflect, and how this is also going to lead to his change that we'll get to here in a second. I just want to give a shout out to everybody tuning in, to the live guests that we have in here, 4K Day, everybody that makes this platform possible. Because like I said, we document and telling our stories, and it's an honor to have my brother in here right now, you know, telling us his story, because I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people out there who may have experienced something like this, or have a person that who went in, you know, and you can relate to this, and this could be healing for you. Because you just never know when your pain or your problems or challenges that you went through in life might be there to help the next man. So maybe that they don't even have to go through it. They can learn through your mistakes and your trials and tribulations. So, like I said, thank you for tuning in. This is the Detailed Data Podcast. We're broadcasting live from the Barber Cave. It's going down in this joint. For real. You know, we got Mr. Bennie here, a.k.a. Papa, Little Papa, a.k.a. now Big Papa, you know. Was it feds or state?
State.
So, first of all, those are two different types of times. And I probably can go on a limb, and I think everybody in this room agree with me that state time is a lot harder than fed time. I know with state, you're dealing with a lot of people like, murderers and rapists, and just like a lot of mentalities such as, versus the feds where you could be locked up with a person that might have did credit card fraud or, some white collar shit, So it's a different vibe. You can get educated, you can do all kind of stuff in there. And I'm not saying it's cake because I can't do any of it, but and like I said, I'm rehabilitated through your story. You know what I'm saying? But again, so let's fast forward. All right, where do we leave off at? You were talking about.
You gave the gun back to Big John.
Huh?
You gave the gun back to Big John.
You gave the gun back to Big John because at the age of 11, you are already militarily trained, seems like, to just know, okay, if this happens, I do this. If that happens, I've been taught to do this without no hesitation, like 1, 2, 3, 4. The OG said, get the pistol back to him. Did it ever make it back to him?
Yes.
Okay, so the homie,
yes.
Yeah, he better gave it back. What'd you say, dude? Okay, I'm gonna do that, brother. Okay, so I want to get back to, you actually going to prison, but like, where'd you want to go from there?
Hey, wait, I ain't going to jail.
No, you can though.
What part? Because I remember you came on with Mama. You remember I was young watching all this shit. So
Wow. Okay.
This shit is like legendary to me. Like,
Hold up.
At what point? At what part of this was you doing the?
Yourself, right?
Man, I'm Wilder the One. What part of this was you wearing the dress and you was looking like Sandra?
Okay, so he spoke kind of fast, So, what did he say? Repeat his question.
He was saying at one point in my career was I dressing up like a woman and kind of looking like my mom.
Okay, speak on that. That's very interesting.
I don't know how much it was like.
Nah, I already know this must be some gangster shit.
Sometimes I let the myths be the myths. I let the legends be the legends, and I sometimes you have to leave it there. But like you say, I was just doing, what I was taught, what I was seeing, So that's basically, and when it came to having to,
What's the scenario that put you in a dress? A robbery, setup, like specifically, if you can, and if you can't, we can move right along because this is not. I repeat, this is not the Get Indicted podcast.
I'm only discuss things that I've been convicted of.
Okay,
but
I'd rather you do that, please.
Yes, sir. That's one of the codes that you got to stick by.
That's a code of this podcast. Y'all hear that, people? If you ain't paid for it, don't say it over here. We got subpoena in our podcast.
But to speak to that, you know what I mean. Let's just say, I can give you an instance.
Yeah. For
an example, I was on the run for murder, at times. I was on the run for other cases and stuff like that. I was wanted, for other cases, and and so I had to go in disguise, because like I said, I was a young fool, and I would never really leave.
Smart fool, though.
No, I was the dumbest nigga you ever known.
Man,
you know
who else
mean?
would have thought about continue? I'm sorry.
You saying that, but I'm saying I'm doing what I was taught. I'm doing what I seen. I'm not inventing the wheel.
Yeah, but a lot of people are taught the game, but they just think they could do it some other kind of way, and they always be the first one to fall first.
But I feel too.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
But you young though. This is not like a 25-year-old, 22-year-old person. You are a kid.
But you got to remember, I'm talking about the big brothers, you know what I'm saying, the uncles, you know what I mean. I mean, like, and this is what I'm seeing, This is what I'm seeing, and I don't glorify that today, but again, I'm just here to tell my story, and like you say, I'm telling my story because it may seem like I'm boasting now,
not at all.
But right now, what I'm doing is I'm telling my story, and this is hard for me because normally I wouldn't tell my story like this. And again, I want to apologize to anybody that was harmed by that young fool. But I'll get to the boasting a little later. You understand when I start boasting right now, I'm telling you about the pains, of my life. And but the brother asked about, the disguises, the dresses, and the wigs. And, sometime when it was on, it was on, and by me being a fairly popular guy,
when you say you're popular, like describe that. What does that look like in your time, your age? You popular, like what kind of notoriety came with that? Like popular amongst the OGs, just the whole neighborhood, or just like what came with that?
By the time I was 16, I was probably one of the most popular guys in the city. So.
Yeah.
So if you say Lil Poppa, it was like, they kind of figured, who they was talking about,
So by this time, you got a hell of a rap.
By this time, I got a hell of a rap.
How many times have you seen Juvie at this time?
I've seen Juvie about 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
I didn't really get to make it to Juvie that much because when I went to Juvie, I went off, TYC. Then I went back to TYC, and so to continue the story, after I went to TYC for this shooting at the elementary, and I went and I did my time up there.
How much time did you have to do behind that shooting? This is up to dude. Obviously.
Yeah. I know I did over a year, and I came home, but before I came home, San Antonio was changing more, and they was changing more into the gang culture was hitting. Crips and Bloods, had started blossoming, so everybody was becoming Crips and Bloods, and it was a situation to where my neighborhood wasn't Crips or Bloods, so we didn't have the notoriety, or the fame, or the, that other neighborhoods had because we wasn't a part of that, and at that time gangbanging was prevalent, and so I had made my mind up when I was in TYC. I said, man, when I come home, we going to the top. He was like, man, what you talking about? I'm like, listen, man, I'm gonna lay it down. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put it down. I'm gonna stack these bodies up, and we gonna be the most respected. You know what I mean? So coming home from TYC, my first day out, I got out the car in the projects. I seen one of my homeboys like, what's up? What you doing? Well, y'all ain't got to worry about nothing no more. Y'all can do what y'all want to do, cause I'm going to prison, and before I go, they gonna know. And so I was on a mission to make sure that my neighborhood was up here. Because like I said, at the time, other neighborhoods was more prevalent because of the gang culture was hitting real hard. And so so that's what I was on a mission to do. I put in the work.
So I imagine you coming home from juvie after shooting a grown-ass man. Your rep is quite thick. And you on fire with it. Do you think juvie, your time in juvie, help make harness even more of a gangster, if you will?
No. Because I say that, I hear that a lot. But this is the situation. You go to juvenile, right? Mm-hmm. Now you're around most of the guys that you in the streets with, right? So it's nothing changed. There's no, there's no reform going on. You with the same guys. So you do your time. Then when you come home, what are you coming home to?
The same shit.
So by the time I came home, the streets had got more deadlier. So I got more deadlier.
Did you lose any homies coming up?
I can remember losing a couple of people. I can remember only losing one guy when I was free. I can only remember losing one guy when I was free. But I kind of feel like, you know, they didn't want to touch us, you know. It was like, it was major consequences at this time. That's how I looked at it. So I didn't have no dead homies when I was free. I started losing them after I got locked up.
Okay, so let's fast forward to the lockup. You turn yourself in?
No,
Or
no.
how does this all go down?
To be honest with you, one of my old girlfriends gave me up to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgive you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so what does that look like?
Helicopter, you know, ATF, undercovers, you know, they come.
Where are you at?
I'm at my cousin's house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, still on the east?
I want to say southeast, over there,
Okay.
like by Highlands area.
Okay.
Yeah, I was over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So
So they end up catching me. You know, I go to jail, and I go to court, and my options were I could take it to trial. I look back and I see it happened to a bunch of people. So I wasn't able to focus in on one person or another. If I could have maybe focused in on one person or another, I probably could have beat the case because I could have silenced them, you know. But when it's so many people, you just then never know who's going to do the right thing, you know, meaning that who's going to just tell the truth. You just never know. And so my options was limited. So it's like I'm going to prison. I really can't take it to trial. So I was like, I'm going to prison anyway, which I ain't tripping about. But, you know, can I strike a deal to see how much time I can get? So I was like, man. So they, you know, I'm in jail. So they telling me how the time go. They was like, man, well, if you get this much time, come up for parole at this time, you get this much time. So I was like, man. So I was like, if I get 40 years, I do 10 years. They're like, yeah, man, you 10 years, you come up for parole. Like, oh, that ain't nothing. I'm like, so I'm gonna take 40 years. So the homies was like, nah, nigga, don't take it. You know what I'm saying? You know, they was like, you know, we can box them in, you know, but it's too many people. You know, the list is long. You know, basically you just never know. The parking lot is full, so it's like you can't box them in because you just don't know, right? So I was like, nah, don't worry about it. I'm good. You know, I did what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? You know, I repped it out. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so I took the 40 years, thinking that in 10 years, basically I'll come home. But they ain't telling me you come up for parole in 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
So so off I go to prison thinking that, you know, that I'm going to come home in 10 years. And I didn't come home 23 years later.
man. So what does it look like your first week in prison?
First week in prison, you know, you're scared, you know, you go through, because it's a new world, you know, you don't know exactly, they telling you how it operate, you know, but if you haven't walked through it, it's like, you know, I don't know. So I just prepared myself mentally and physically that whatever come my way, that I would try to kill it, you know. And so
Same mentality.
the same mentality, you know. And so you know, when my first week, you know, you go through the door, it depends on what unit you hit, you know what I mean?
Where'd you first go?
I went to Gaza East first, and then, which wasn't really a real unit, but you still get tested, you know what I'm saying? Because I come from a place where, you know, I put in work, you know what I mean? So now it's like you ain't got no guns. What you gonna do now? You know, remember I was a pretty small guy, you know what I mean? So you know, I just stood my ground, you know, at every turn, you know, no matter where I went, you know what I mean? I rep my neighborhood, you know. And I remember my dad, God bless his soul, he passed away, but he told me, he was telling me about God, you know. God, this, you know, Jesus, I'm telling you, you change your life. And I was like, in my mind, this is what I told him. I say, Pops, if I become a Christian on my first day in prison, I'm going to be a hoe. They're going to rape me. They're gonna punk me, you right? And then everything that comes behind me, they're gonna treat the same way. I say, now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through the fire. I say, and Pops, if I come out this fire, I'm coming your way. I'll become a Christian, you know. And I was saying that just to appease him, but I know I'm going through the fire. I know before I do anything else, I know I'm gonna walk this walk. I'm gonna walk this walk as a WCG. I'm gonna rep my neighborhood all the way through. Nobody gonna say, man, what's up with them niggas out over here? And I'm gonna say, no, that was him, and that was him, and that was him. No, I had the mindset that this is where I'm from. Whatever he did, whatever she did, I did it. Because I understood that in this environment, right, if you don't stand on your own 2 feet, somebody else will.
So what do you think the hardest thing was about adjusting to prison life?
Probably the hardest thing for me adjusting in prison was my grandmother started to get older, you know. And this is years later because prison wasn't nothing. It was just like, this is what it is, you know. I never thought about going home. And I never thought I was going to go home at this time. So it's just like, I'm in prison. I'm living this prison life. But my grandmother, when I would, you know, think about her, you know, speak to her, you know, she write me. And I understood that she was getting older, you know, and older and older. And I was like...
and this is the one lady that was speaking to you about God to begin with.
Yes.
And trying to instill these principles that you still got in you, but, you know, based on the jungle.
Yeah.
You know.
And so I wanted to come home to at least let my grandmother see that I was gonna live right, even if I was faking. I was gonna fake until she died, you know, because I wanted that was the one person that I didn't want to have no worries, you know. But I didn't make it home in time.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. So what was the circumstances when she passed away?
Natural causes.
And so you get the news. How do you find out?
Well, she had came to see me, I think maybe like a month before that, maybe 2 months before that. And she had told me, she said, Papa, this may be my last time seeing you. And I'm like, what? And she was like, yeah. I was like, what's going on? I said, what the doctor say? Oh, the doctor said I'm gonna live forever. I said, well, that's what we going with, you know? And after she left, I think it was my first time really crying in prison.
Yeah.
And
what does that look like?
It looks like a baby at birth. Like I cried for maybe about 2 weeks. Like I guess God, I look at it back now, God was preparing me for her death. Because I cried for like 2 weeks. I mean, like hard, and I couldn't like control it. I was like, man, what is it? And I kept remembering my grandma said, "It's maybe my last time seeing you." And so when I got the call, they was like, they want you down in the chapel. You know, that's how they do it in prison now. They want you down in the chapel and they'll let you call home, you know. And I was like, nah, I'm good. You know? And, you know, by that time that it happened, I was the strongest man alive. It was no more crying. And still to this day, I haven't wept. I haven't cried for my grandmother. I cried those 2 weeks, and I haven't cried since. But I had asked my grandmother before she passed, I said, Big Mama, what you want me to do? And she said, I want you to keep this family together. You know. So, you know. So that's what I try to do today. I try to keep my family together.
Man, listen, man. This podcast right here, this is definitely going to be part one, because we got like 5 minutes until we shut down, and I didn't even get halfway through because, you know, I was prepared with some questions, but I'm also a person that's about the vibe and following the flow and just staying in the moment. And you've given us a lot already, and I think it's good because it's gonna give the listeners, you know, on the heels to like to get the other side of the story. What'd you say? No, this is.
And I want to thank you for inviting me, you know, to your podcast, and I ask y'all to like it and share it, you know, as much as possible. And it's an honor to come and add to the good things that you're doing for our people.
No, man, listen, this this is our podcast. You know, it's not about me; it's about us. And I appreciate you, because you reached out and was like, "I like what you're doing," and so that just automatically made me just like look into it a little bit, and then. But I don't want to end it on all the I don't want to say negative, because those are the things that made you into who you are today, which is the positive person that's giving back. But real quickly, briefly, can you just touch on where you're at today, and we'll just double back and pick up where we left off, just because I want to leave on a good note. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's all good. You know,
It is
I
good.
think maybe it's better for some than others. But where I'm at today, I had a God experience after being in prison maybe 20 years, and basically God came in my cell. I was in the middle of my mess. I had cell phones, drugs. I had girlfriends. You know, I was living a life, kind of like the top of the shit hill. You know. And, you know, just like I was top of the shit here when I was free, you know. And he came and said, you know, come to me, you know. And I told God, I said, God, look who you talking to. You know, look what I'm doing. You know, this dude's coming to the cell trying to score now, you know. I'm saying, this is who you're dealing with, you know. And God says, come. And I just asked him, God, you're going to have to help me. You know, I don't know how you're going to do it, but you really going to have to help me. And so God began to help me, you know. I accepted the calling that was on my life, and that's how I walk today. I walk with the calling that God has put on my life.
Now, you got out in April?
April of 2016.
Okay.
It is your homework, huh?
And so, so that's been about, what, 5 years?
I don't count. I
Yeah,
just
4 years. Yeah, okay. You probably stopped counting after having to count 22. It's like, shit, I'm in the moment. Since then, you have been doing so much work in the community with the kids, with giving back to school, the whole 9 yards. You've just been trying to take what you did back then and right those wrongs through action.
Yes.
And to the point that you're even trying to start, what is it, group homes or?
What I got on my board today is I would like to put safe houses.
I'm sorry.
In every neighborhood, meaning that when you go in a community and that community needs resources, whether it's food, clothing, shelter, you know, whether it's jobs, whether it's job skills. That's what we want to provide. We want to start and put safe houses where people can come and feel safe to come when they turn away from the streets.
Okay.
And so we have an event coming up on the 20th of this month at Big Tank's Pizza, 902 New Braunfels, and it's a community event. You know, all are welcomed. You know, and we're going to come out and continue to show the community love and showing that we can do it, that we can have events, that we can come together, and that we can build, you know. Also, I have some guest artists, you know, that will be there. I have Wallow the One. I have Boss Hog that's going to be there and provide entertainment, you know. And also, if anybody else wants to be a part of the entertainment, you know, they just hit me up on Facebook.
Okay, so.
Yes, and also we still have the invitation to the Disability Legend too as an artist as well. Okay. But he's in the hospital right now, so we pray that he gets a speedy recovery.
Okay. And you have Instagram, things of that nature. How can people contact you? If they want you to come.
You can contact me on Facebook, Bennie Price.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then on Instagram, it's One Church, One Soul.
Okay. And that's is that spelled out? How do you spell
the number one church, the number one soul.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. I just want to make sure we get the right stuff out there. Man, all right. Well, Dave, that was 10 days, man. Thank you all, Bennie. Mr. Price. Thank you so much for giving us your time, your energy, and I hope this is not over. We definitely have to plan for part 2, like ASAP. Like ASAP.
Yes, and I do want y'all to know before we go that.
What else you want to? Is there anything else you want to leave us with?
That my lovely wife, Miss Michelle Satterwhite Price. None of this could probably be possible without her standing beside me.
Man, that's the real.
It's so important.
See, we supposed to get into that too, but we will on part 2. You know what I'm saying? Real quick though, you said Satterwhite. You wouldn't happen to be related to a James Satterwhite.
That's my cousin.
Yeah.
That's my dad's best friend. That's my good friend. But he's not Satterwhite anymore. He changed his name, right? Yeah, James. Yeah, but yeah, that's my guy. Already, small world. Okay, because I only know one Satterwhite. There's not a lot of them out there.
Oh, please. There's a lot of
I mean, I never met until I came here, a Satterwhite. So anyway, it's the Detailed Ditter podcast. Make sure y'all stay tuned in. We're streaming live in 4K. Stay with it. Part 2 coming soon. God bless. Talk to you soon. Peace. And Bennie.